Some call me Johnny. I first saw this guy when I was watching reviews for the Shadow the Hedgehog games, and I liked Johnny's review of the Sonic the Hedgehog games, and I'm a Sonic fan. And I since then I've watched other stuff of Johnny Versus, and I gotta say I liked his stuff. And now might be a good time to react, which is Kingdom Hearts 3. I never played any of the Kingdom Hearts games, but I watched the cutscenes because, well, let's face it, I want to see the Disney characters again. Like Ariel, Simba. But I had to watch the playthroughs. There wasn't like a cutscene compilation or anything. I had to wait through the playthroughs or just skip through them to watch the cutscenes. But that was years ago, and now we're here with Kingdom Hearts 3. Well, let's see.
Oh, oh, goodness. Is it finally time to look at the Final Fantasy VII Remake? No, it's Kingdom Hearts 3. Even though this game started development in 2013, a lot of folks have been waiting for this since the late 2000s. It was the next numbered entry to some of the only games that matter, but as I learned throughout my Kingdom Hearts marathon back in 2017, these games may not have had a number, but they were full-fledged games in their own way. Now, whether they were good or not is an entirely different thing, but I found a new favorite in Birth by Sleep, the handheld entry for the PSP, and I really enjoyed the fragmentary patched sampler in the HD collection. A taste of what was to come in Kingdom Hearts 3, likely. Everything else, though... well, I thought 358 Days Over 2 was just bad, even though I thought the story was okay. Every other game ranged from mediocre to passable. It didn't help that starting with Kingdom Hearts 2, I checked out of the story because it just wasn't my thing. Kingdom Hearts transformed from a boy looking for his friends with a magical key to an unnecessarily layered plot where dark forces are trying to ignite a grand Keyblade war utilizing clones, possessions, contingency plans for contingency plans, and time travel. It became so ridiculous and up its ass with complexity that I stopped caring. But I realized that sheer insanity is what a lot of folks love about it. Yeah, at the end of the day, you're controlling a kid who swings a key like a sword and has Donald Duck and Goofy as best buds. And I don't mean to make it sound like I'm undermining those who legitimately find the story interesting. That's fine, more power to you. I'm glad you got something out of it.
I never played it.
Don't think there's much in good storytelling here. But I've learned to accept that, and I'm just here for the gameplay and fan service. Sure enough, that's been the main reason why I was excited for Kingdom Hearts 3. It looked like we were going back to Kingdom Hearts 2 in terms of form, though the whole package looked amazing, and they're bringing Toy Story into the mix, and Monsters, Inc.? Yeah, there's Tangled, Frozen, and Big Hero 6, that's cool, but nothing compared to
Buzz Lightyear, the world's greatest superhero, now the world's greatest toy!
Damn it,
Seriously, I was starting to cramp holding onto that thing. That shit weighs a ton. It was in the back of my mind, though. It was egging me, John, you never got to experience Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, the mobile phone game, and you never got to talk about Kingdom Hearts Back Cover, the hour-long CGI movie that would likely tie into events in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Wait, what?
I don't care. Although from what I hear, Union Cross is a perfectly fine game, I was just never that interested in it. Especially after the marathon where I got tired of playing canonical side games. It wasn't a traditional Kingdom Hearts experience and I wasn't willing to branch into it. Though shoutouts to my good pal Shade for giving me your special code that unlocks a special Keyblade when you play Union Cross and Kingdom Hearts 3 together. I'll be honest though, I didn't use the Keyblade at all, I'll explain why later, but I appreciate the generosity, Shade. You can find her Twitter here, give her a follow and maybe consider commissioning her for some art. Logically, my indifference to Union Cross would also apply to Back Cover, chronologically set centuries before the first Kingdom Hearts. We got these folks in animal mass, this one lively dude in an organization black coat talks about prophecies, a master of masters. This is all around the time the first Keyblade War happened, so I figured this is all here to flesh out the lore, and that's cool, but is this all really necessary? Do I really have to watch this to get a better understanding of Kingdom Hearts 3 since I know that game would inevitably tie into this one? The short answer is sort of. I wouldn't call it a must-watch, but before I continue, I guess I got a plot to summarize, and since this is the latest game of the franchise, the spoiler levels are at code level Omega 13. But like my previous Kingdom Hearts videos, I'll give you a timestamp to skip the summary, and you can just jump into my thoughts on the gameplay. It's a game years in the making. Let's talk about Kingdom Hearts 3.
Nah, I'm good.
Alright, man, it's been a while, so let me see. Okay, so because Sora managed to defeat Ansem and Zenmus, the Heartless and Nobody of Xehanort, respectively, Master Xehanort was on the verge of becoming a complete entity once more. Master Yensid sent Sora and Riku to the Dream Realm to complete their Mark of Mastery exam so that they can become Keyblade Masters, and become strong enough to conquer the darkness and maybe one day find a way to rescue Terra, Ventus, and Aqua, former Keyblade warriors that all had a really shitty day. Sora and Riku are horrified to learn that Master Xehanort has indeed returned, and thanks to the power of time travel, he is able to recruit his younger self, Ansem Seeker of Darkness, and Zenmus into his new Organization 13, who planned on expanding their ranks by collecting pieces of darkness so that they may one day clash with 7 pieces of light to start another Keyblade War and create the fabled Keyblade, the tool necessary to unlock Kingdom Hearts. Master Xehanort attempted to make Sora a vessel for his darkness quota, but he's saved thanks to Riku, King Mickey, and Axel, who's now going under his original name Lee, since he's back to being a complete human. With his plans being momentarily stalled, Master Xehanort makes a hasty retreat along with his Blackstreet boys. Riku passes his Mark of Mastery exam and is now dubbed a Keyblade Master, but thanks to Xehanort's mindfuckery, Sora is back to square one and needs to regain all of his lost strength. Since Master Xehanort could return at any time, our heroes begin to prepare for the upcoming battle. Lee and Kairi begin their training as Keyblade wielders, Riku and Mickey begin their journey into the Realm of Darkness to try and rescue Aqua, who's been stuck there for over a decade, mind you, and they're only doing this now, and Master Yensid sends Sora and his companions off to rebuild Sora's strength, which also involves locating the Power of Waking, which is needed to restore lost hearts. Sora, Donald, and Goofy begin their new journey by heading back to Olympus to see if they can get some insight from Hercules, who's kind of been in Sora's shoes at some point, so that makes sense. Elsewhere, Maleficent and Pete are still loafing about, but now they're on the lookout for a so-called black box that, spoiler warning, goes absolutely nowhere. In fact, that could solve about the first 15 to 20 hours of Kingdom Hearts 3. It kinda goes nowhere. I say kinda because time is spent planting seeds that have some payoff towards the end, but this journey is very much Sora's road trip adventures with a compass that's about as helpful as Jack's compass right here. Those seeds that I mentioned though? Well, let's see. Riku and Mickey attempt to rescue Aqua from the Realm of Darkness and it doesn't work. Back to the drawing board. Kairi and Lee begin their Keyblade training for the eventual war, all of it happening off screen by the way. Former Organization 13 members go back to living their normal lives while some deliberately become nobodies again just to rejoin the organization, although we learn that some of them have ulterior motives and are actually on the good side. It's also discovered that it might be possible to resurrect Roxas and Naminé by placing their essence inside an empty vessel, pretty much like how the Riku replica was created in Chain of Memories, and it's implied that the same could be done for Xion if anybody actually remembered that she existed. I'm still wondering the need to bring her back at all, as I find her entire character to be absolutely meaningless, but I guess we gotta make sure everybody gets a happy ending here. Replicas are the go-to answer for things in the story. How are we gonna get Roxas and Naminé back? Replicas. How are Ansem, Zenmus, and the young Xehanort here? Replicas. To be more accurate, Master Xehanort used time travel to bring their hearts to the present time and place them inside empty vessels he had on standby, since for some reason, all 3 entities can't exist in the same timeline at once. Alright, I guess that makes sense if you're gonna set up rules that way, but wait a minute, isn't Ansem Seeker of Darkness by the game's definition a heartless? You know, a being without a heart? If he has a heart at all, well, doesn't that kind of fly in the face of the whole fucking naming convention? My buddy Derek from Game Explain made a good counterpoint to this and said that the Heartless always held captive hearts, so it's likely not his at all. So then I have to ask, okay, well, whose is it then? Is it Riku's? Is it his heart from when he was possessing Kingdom Hearts 1? Then who's this asshole? Is it the replica from Chain of Memories? Then who's this asshole? Is this also the replica from Chain of Memories?
Shut up!
Okay, moving on. Now this sounds like a bunch of stuff, but these only sum up moments in the narrative. Story elements that happen between worlds, not too different than how Chain of Memories did things when you think about it. In a way, I guess you can see these as little rewards for finishing the last Disney World. You know, getting more out of the main story, but I don't know, man. I think we needed more of this. Integrated inside and outside every world we travel through. Sora needs to locate the Power of Waking, but since he doesn't know where to look, he just travels world to world and does stuff. A jarring contrast to previous games where our purpose was more concrete. We travel to a world swarmed with the Heartless and steal the keyholes that the Heartless can't destroy. There's no keyholes this time, no worlds to awaken, no glitches to clean up, none of that. So I'm sort of caught off guard when a world ends. Like, you knew when it happened before, but now it's like, oh, I guess the Power of Waking is not here, so you guys want some Denny's? And like before, the plots inside the Disney worlds have little bearing on the story. That's been the case since the original, I know, and I know I should be more interested in what kind of story the Disney worlds want to tell, but some miss the mark. Arendelle, Kingdom of Corona, and the Caribbean are just blatant rehashes of the respective movies with no context given to anything. You guys remember Let It Go, right? Well, here you go. It's just thrown in there. You like At World's End, the third pirate movie? Here you go, now on the PS4. It comes off as Sora, Donald, and Goofy giving us a DVD commentary track on the films. I've never seen Tangled, I feel like I'm missing out, but as of this video, I still haven't watched it, and this world didn't do a damn thing for me. me. The plot felt so disjointed. Like, I felt the way things progressed would have made more sense if I watched the movie, but the game doesn't bother elaborating. Stuff like this ends up making their respective worlds a little mundane to travel around. Kingdom of Corona was too much of a straight line of progression, all for a story I didn't find very interesting, so that also didn't help. And Arendelle, Jesus, you fall off this fucking mountain like, what, 3 times just to get to the Ice Palace, and for what? To see more of Frozen's great assists that I easily could have seen if I just watched the movie. The Caribbean wasn't so bad as a world, though. You can sail around the open sea like in Wind Waker or Assassin's Creed, I hear that game brought up a lot, and you can decimate Heartless ships with cannons, a super jump, and homing missiles. It's also pretty fun to explore, though the underwater controls could use more fine-tuning. Not a fan of how you controlled your ascent and descent. Toy Box, Monsteropolis, and Big Hero 6 all have it a bit better since their stories are completely original, and you know, looking back, I wish every Disney World and every other game did this. Because these worlds are doing their own thing, they don't have to worry about recreating iconic scenes from their movies just for the sake of fan service and thus sacrifice cohesion. I know I play these games for the fan service anyway, but this is just much better for storytelling, I think. These worlds do a much better job integrating the Disney elements into the main plot of Kingdom Hearts 3 without the need to forcibly shoehorn the original characters in instances where they clearly don't fit. Like when you get to the part of the Caribbean where Elizabeth and Will are having their moment, I'm like, damn, Sora and the gang do not benefit from this at all. There's no place for them in this story. It doesn't work. My favorite worlds were indeed Toy Box, Monsteropolis, and Big Hero 6. I think they did a good job using familiar characters in new scenarios that highlighted what I loved about these characters and their worlds the most, while giving them standout moments in the context of Kingdom Hearts. I loved when the Heartless possessed the giant dragon figures in Toy Box because they still move like toys when you fight them, and all I could think about was when Woody tells off young Xehanort because he also couldn't give a shit about the overarching plot either, it's just great. And when Mike and Sully throw Vanitas through a door, and then throw those doors into other doors, and then shred the last one, that was perfect. Those are moments I yearn for in Kingdom Hearts, and you'll never get me to hate Baymax. Okay, back to the story. Eventually, Riku and Mickey find themselves in another jam when their second attempt to rescue Aqua goes about as well as expected, but Riku presses the Sora reaction command in the nick of time, and Sora flies in to make the save. It's said that Sora couldn't help Riku and Mickey with their mission previously because Sora lacked the power of waking, but that's just sort of brushed off here. I like to think of it as Sora telling Yensid that, dude, you ever think that maybe you're just wrong here? And then Sora heads down and proves himself, and it works. Aqua is finally rescued. It's a tearful reunion, but there's no time to waste. Their next stop is Castle Oblivion, where Aqua left Ventus to sleep. She transforms back into the Land of Departure, something I like just for the music alone, and Ventus is right where Aqua left him, and I seriously hope muscular atrophy is not a thing in Kingdom Hearts. But before Aqua can manage to do anything, Vanitas suddenly returns to attempt to rejoin with Ventus, but it's at this moment where Sora learns that the power of waking was inside him all along. Really kind of makes the whole journey before this kind of meaningless, but whatever. Sora uses the power of waking to give Ventus that much needed wake-up call, and the young man finally awakens, sending Vanitas packing for the time being. Everybody's all slowly coming together, and now since Sora has the power of waking back, it's time for the final confrontation with Master Xehanort at the Keyblade Graveyard. With Keyblades in hand, our warriors head straight into the battle and get their asses collectively shipwrecked. Straight up, I think everybody dies, including Sora, but thanks to his inner power and help from Kairi because the writers had no idea what to do with her, Sora manages to bring himself back from the brink, travels in time before everyone bit the dust, and wipes out the Heartless with special help from this dude who's from the mobile game, I think, and his internet band of shitposters. It's only a small victory, however, for there's still the matter of the new Organization 13, consisting of all kinds of familiar faces. The gang pulled their powers together, though, and managed to wipe out everyone except Master Xehanort. In the middle of all this, Terra is brought back from the brink after Sora manages to laser blast the Xehanort out of him with help from Xehanort's guardian? Was Terra inside this thing all along? There's also a moment where Terra's lingering will shows up to face off against his possessed body, but then he just vanishes off screen after this. Did he shift his willpower into this thing between fights, or are they trying to say that he was always this thing? Roxas is suddenly brought back to life thanks to the new vessel made by Vexen, and I guess Roxas sensed the body close by and made the jump, I don't know. But out of nowhere, Shion is suddenly brought back too, and there is no explanation for this shit at all. She is just there. What the fuck? We knew Shion would come back some way or another once they brought the whole vessel thing into the mix, but that's just completely ignored. Here you go, Shion's back. Was she brought here from the past as a potential Xehanort candidate to fulfill the darkness quota? Did Xehanort not play 358 Days? Didn't he know that Shion was a good person? Oh my god, this is... Alright, well, Master Xehanort is all that's left, but it turns out everything is going according to his plan. By having the 13 Darknesses clash with the 7 Lights, them being the organization and the heroes respectively, the Keyblade is about to be formed, but Master Xehanort needs one more clash between Light and Darkness, so he provokes Sora into attacking him by murdering Kairi. Fucking hell, poor Kairi, a means to an end until the last breath. What an utter waste of potential.